Welcome to the Hangout. Hope that you're out there. And if you're not, you might be catching this by archive. I'm excited today. We've been having very good, meaty sessions on how you can do Hangouts for business owners. I'm interested as you are. As you know, some of you all are a little more focused on this. I've been more focused on Blog Talk Radio. I was just talking to Ben, but you and I both know that this is where everything is going. I've got to learn. You've got to learn. And Ben's kind of an expert. He's been doing this for, I think I told you in my email, he's done this for the Timberwolves. He's done this for several folks around Minnesota. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself. But actually, he was actually part of the team within Google that kind of helped develop these things in Minnesota. So I think he's got a unique perspective, and he's experienced doing these things. And we want to kind of get into how, again, you can approach small business owners with a value proposition that you can help them to get more business using Hangouts. And at the end of the day, I don't think they care so much whether or not you can do a Hangout per se. I think that they'd be caring if you can use it to help them to get more business. And so Ben's going to help us with that today. And without further ado, Ben, I'm going to kick it to you.
Awesome. Can you hear me all right there?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect, man.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Charles, for having me here. Again, like Charles said, my name is Ben Theis. I actually used to work for Google. Our job when I was at Google was helping develop actually Google Plus, and then outside of it, I was responsible for the launch here in Minnesota. So as Charles alluded to, we were actually luckily able to help different organizations within Minnesota, like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Minnesota Swarm, which is a lacrosse team, Andrew Zimmern, which you may have seen on the Food Network channel, Mall of America. All these different kind of cool content providers and businesses actually produce Hangouts. We worked with a lot of the bigger ones, but what was actually really kind of cool about it as well is we were actually able to work with all the way down to, again, those small business owners and help them identify how they could use this really cool tool to, again, not only enhance their business and communication, but ultimately, get more business out of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Ben, when you approach them, I mean, obviously you've got experience.
Mhm.
Let's kind of break down what's the value proposition, or what are you helping them to do, other than broadcast, and then how do you approach them with this whole idea or introducing Hangouts to them, in order for them to get more business?
Yeah, so it's kind of like you said, it's kind of a 2 or 3 layer process. So some of it, obviously, is being able to broadcast, content. To be honest with you, that is a huge turn on for a lot of businesses. For those that are listening out there, you may not realize Google's slowly and YouTube's slowly rolling it out, but for the majority of us that are not a YouTube partner or in the Google for Nonprofits program, you cannot broadcast live content on YouTube. Now, through Hangouts, you're able to do that. So actually, to give you a really good example, we worked with the Minnesota State Fair last year. Here, again, one of the largest state fairs, and to show you again how kind of the ease of it, using mobile devices, using just laptops, and even a Wi-Fi hotspot, we were actually able to broadcast the different events for the different music events that were going on. They were the lower tier ones. Not necessarily the big, grandstand like Maroon 5 or whatever, those different kind of bands, but we were able to actually broadcast some of the lower tier bands, and again, they were actually able to do it live on YouTube. And then what's really cool about that, as for those of you who are familiar with Hangouts, is it records that and then it drops it in your YouTube channel. And that's also where, again, that's kind of another good selling point, is because not only are we able to now broadcast live content and be able to have access to that, now afterwards, now we can treat that like a regular YouTube video. So I've worked with clients now where we take that video and now we're able to monetize it, via YouTube. So, that's a huge proposition.
So now, one of the things that concerns me, in approaching them is, okay, I went out and I bought shop lighting, and I kind of know intuitively, okay, I've got to have lighting. When you have a business owner and if they say, yeah, I want to do this, but they may not even have a webcam, so how do you overcome the equipment barrier? How do you overcome the quality barrier?
Mhm.
So what do you start with when you work with them?
Yeah, so when I work with them, we start to see what they have to work with, really. And that's, I mean, anybody, I mean, you have to find out where your base is going. Now, I will say what's great about Hangouts, and it obviously depends on what we're doing here. Again, if we're going to be broadcasting a performance, we obviously maybe need a little bit better camera, a little bit better equipment. But if we're doing something along the lines of this, or we're doing maybe a presentation, that's another big one that I've helped people with is, again, if they're giving a presentation to, I mean, small business owners, if they're giving kind of even, not a webinar, but, a group presentation. Actually, I helped my church. They're going on a mission trip next year, and they were having a meeting, and they were able to do a Hangout because someone wasn't able to join. And then what was nice about it is they were able to record that and broadcast for those moms and those parents that weren't able to join and come into the church because of kids. So, but what's nice about it is really, like, the camera that I'm using right now is literally, I have a MacBook Pro. That's all I'm using. Again, I've used it on a Dell, and as you can see, the quality is very good. And you can kind of get away with it. So my thing is, it's what's awesome about it is you really don't need that high quality equipment. You can even actually, when I was at the state fair, believe it or not, we actually used a lot of mobile devices and smartphones as cameras, for Hangouts. And it actually really does work. Again, it does come down to your connection a little bit. So again, obviously, we want to make sure it obviously works best if you have a good 4G LTE connection. But really, the quality, you'd be amazed that can come out of, just the smallest devices that's in your pocket.
So you can initiate. So everything that I'm doing right now, so I can initiate the Hangout, and I can actually have the business owner on the other end. We can both be using our mobile device, and then we can use that connection to broadcast a Hangout.
Yes. So you can either, yeah. So we could. So right now, I could actually be tuning in live via my, mobile device if I wanted to. Again, you'd see my screen. Obviously, the screen is, the dimensions are a little bit different, and it may look a little different here. But I've done plenty of Hangouts, both internally and externally. Meaning internally having internal communications where I'm walking through the airport or sitting down and having a Hangout on my phone. Or actually, again, to give you an extreme example, is we actually worked with the Miracle of Birth Center, and I actually used my phone as the camera, and we actually had live baby animal births on Hangouts. So I was in the pen, 4 feet away with my phone, and that was the camera that we were using, and it was amazing. We had baby piglets, we had a baby cow, and I think 2 sheep born on Hangouts. And again, being able to do one of these and being able to broadcast it. And again, just with a computer, and if someone else is on a computer, and then a mobile device. So,
no, that's cool. That's cool. So now, you mentioned connection. Okay,
yep.
So if you're doing, now, you've done events, right? So if I'm going to do an event, and I'm just, because my experience with Hangouts is just kind of looking like you and I doing a Hangout.
Yep.
I'm looking at you right now, that we could take, whether it's a camera or whether or not it's a laptop, and we can actually broadcast an event in the background. So how does the whole thing change? So if I'm doing an event for a business owner and they want to broadcast it, let's talk about connection. Let's talk about how do all those things change, because obviously, if you're doing an event, you're probably going to have a little bit, maybe you're going to have to upgrade some stuff, or do you? And maybe I kind of got it in my head that it's harder than it is.
So if we're going to be doing an event, we are going to maybe want to look at getting a little bit of upgraded equipment. Again, the cameras that are on our computer are built for, up close, about 2 to 3 feet away. You can tell, again, if I were to scroll back here or stroll back on my chair, you'd see me start to get really very blurry and those things, because again, this camera is built for that. So again, we'd want to get one of those cameras that, again, you can get very fancy. And there's some connections that we can do to connect a really nice camera, or the new digital cameras connect very nicely to computers. So again, I've worked with clients and small business owners that have used, again, just a newer digital camera. So again, where you're talking where maybe it's a little bit of an upgrade, but again, digital cameras are not super expensive. And what's nice is a lot of times people, small businesses can also find another use for them as well. Now, when it comes to connection, again, that's obviously really important. I always recommend, if at all possible, again, obviously you want to be Wi-Fi first. instead of a hotspot. And a hotspot, you know, I mean, again,
Right.
being just a little square, even your phone. You know, Wi-Fi is obviously going to be the strongest. And if we can, we always want to plug in. You know, again, you know, just from the standpoint that, you know, again, usually an event, you're under a little bit of more pressure. It's a little bit more spotlight. It's just that added security for yourself. Now, again, we've done events, we've done Hangouts with hotspots, you know, again, and sometimes they've gone down because, again, you know, I mean, you're dealing with the frequency and just the level of the connection. But, you know, again, for the most part, again, even doing an event and upgrading really isn't what it used to be. Again, a lot of people in their minds when we talk about, you know, hey, we're going to broadcast this, we're going to do a Hangout, we're going to do a video conference. People, you know, get in their minds that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a professional studio here. I'm going to have to do all this stuff, which, again, really, you know, again, you and me are doing a really good Hangout, and I've seen a lot of small business owners, and this is actually more than actually the event one. This is what I help people do because, again, it just takes a computer and a simple internet connection, and we can start to, you know, open up the layers of communication and offer content that we weren't even able to offer, you know, I mean, years ago.
Now, to get a little technical about this, I know that now I've got a webcam and I'm using kind of a basic sort of laptop here, and I'm wondering now, you know, in order to capture the video, you know, I don't even know if they make computers with FireWire anymore. So if you're talking about, let's say you're upgrading the camera, now have you done anything where you've had to get a camera, plug it in externally or internally to another computer and have that work, you know, at the same level at which the webcam works?
Yep, because what's nice is with Hangouts is in your settings you can change the input for the camera. So again, as long as we connect it correctly, and that's usually where, again, like sometimes where I'll come in and I'll help clients is we got to make sure everything's set up correctly and just connected correctly. But no, again, yeah, we've worked with doing the, like, again, video, just handheld cameras. I'm actually working with my church right now to actually plug in a lot of our, $10, $20, $30,000 video equipment into this, where we can actually broadcast our sermons on Sundays, via, on YouTube and via Google.
Right.
So again, there's obviously the vast level. Most people are going to fit into that, again, where we can get away if we're just doing the person-to-person, or if we need to take it the next step and we need to broadcast an event. Again, it's just, and most cameras these days are pretty simple, because now you can even get away with, doing a USB, connecting it to your USB, and boom, go to your settings and switch that input. So again, it kind of depends on your camera, but and your connection and kind of the capabilities of it. But a lot of the newer ones, or I should say almost all the new ones, and a lot of even the older ones, are very connected. You just need the right cord. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. So now I've got one of my good friends. She does Hangouts, and one of the things that she kind of focuses on is the quality, right? Is the post production. What do you think? Have you seen, just in terms of being able to sell this to business owners? Do you gain anything with a client that maybe wants something a little more polished, or is it more that they want it available on YouTube? So, because I've heard that the original recording, has a better ranking factor than one that you pull down, that you place back on YouTube, and then all the description for it. So what's been your experience with that?
So I think the main clients that I work with are more concerned about the YouTube piece and people finding it than kind of maybe doing the little things to polish. Now, as you can see, again, like you have yours, Charles, like you can do little things to up your quality value. Something as simple as what we have over here is this overlay with both of our names. That's called it's called a lower third. As you can see, it just adds a little bit more production value. I have my logo. My company is called Skol Marketing. I've got my name right there. I've got my logo. It just adds that that next level of kind of sophistication. Other things, you know, I mean, to kind of look for, just even, you know, little things are obviously, like, you know, we were talking about it before, is lighting. You know, I mean, again, you know, if you go into a coffee shop, or even sound, if we go into a loud coffee shop, it's dark, well, it just makes your whole hangout, kind of brings it down, because it doesn't look like the best quality. But from the standpoint of what I've mainly come in contact with, is mainly clients are more interested in, you know, kind of doing the fine tuning things, and then just getting it more up to YouTube, just so people can find it. Now, again, I have run into a couple of them that are very, you know, very into production, and we've kind of gone through the filters. We've gone, you know, I mean, done the different things like that, edited it a little bit, cropped it, you know, all those different kind of things. And, you know, and it's actually pretty minimal, the effort they need to put into it. But for the most part, the clients that I've even dealt with, and even we're talking, you know, even the Timberwolves and some of the bigger ones, again, their main concern is how do we, you know, how do we create unique content that people are going to want to see, and how do we get it to the masses? And so those are our two main things, and those are our two main goals.
Right. Yeah. And now, obviously, and let's kind of look at this from the consultant perspective. I mean, this is labor intensive, right? So, you know, you've got a client, and they're going to want to do this, you know, on a regular basis. They're going to want to, obviously, in order to get the benefit, they need to continue to produce, you know, the kind of content. If they get one video ranked because it was a hangout, you know, it's almost counterproductive to follow that up with just a regular video. They're going to want to do a second one, a third one, and a fourth one. As a consultant, how do you then balance out, you know, how you're going to charge them versus, you know, having to be there for them? So are you going in there, are you teaching them how to do it, and then letting them go and saying, okay, now you can produce them? Or are you going to be the guy on the spot there to be the person they can call for every, let's say they want to do it every week, they're going to call Ben to do it. How do you balance that out?
So how I balance it and how I kind of do it, and again, you know, people may do it differently, is I kind of do it where the first one or two times, usually it takes about two, is you know, I mean, you almost really have to be there, because again, like we talked about, there's all these little things like remembering the lower third. Again, if we're doing a Hangout on air, which we're doing right now, you know, remember that's, you know, broadcasting it live. We need to make sure that we have the correct YouTube account set up. We need to make sure that we actually did a Hangout on air. I've had clients where they think I had one client where they thought they did everything, and they actually did a regular Hangout, which it didn't record, it didn't do anything. And so obviously, you know, I mean, a little disappointed there that they lost all of it. So again, you know, they're that first or second time and trying to walk them through the steps, and then the other times it's there as kind of support. And then I've done different things where, you know, it's kind of billing, you know, how you want to charge them for that. But you know, your first two times or whatever, you're more labor intensive, and where, you know, I mean, where you're gonna have to charge that client. And then from there, it's usually, you know, minor support. You know, sometimes I'll help them, you know, with a quick setup. Because again, some of the setup doesn't have to be there. Again, if they can get their computer set up and everything, I've helped with something as simple as, well, let's embed this video real quick. Those things that you can do virtually, that you can do kind of in the cloud. Mm-hmm. So, and then again, that's obviously way less, because I don't have to be there, I don't have to drive there, I don't have to be, and it doesn't take as much of my time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it makes sense, perfect sense. So how do you overcome, and I've heard this actually from business owners here, right? Mm-hmm. And I haven't even approached them about Hangouts. They tell me, they say, well, most of my stuff is on Facebook. You know, and I guess, you know, you can overcome that by saying, you know, it's going to be on YouTube. In terms of them getting people to see the actual video, are you working with them to build, number one, build their YouTube following or their Google Plus following ahead of time, or are you producing the Hangout and telling them, hey, put this on YouTube and tell everybody to go to YouTube? How are you helping the business owner get people to see it?
It's kind of a mixed bag, because again, like sometimes clients will come to me and they're ready to kind of, you know, jump off the diving board and, hey Ben, I want to do everything. I want to start going to social media. Let's do a Hangout, everything. Well, if we're starting right there and they really want to get going, you know, sometimes a Hangout can be a good launching point, because now we have content that we can start to push on there. Obviously, if they already have a following, it's a great way to try and, you know, extract that and to try and just build that more. One thing I always do, and it's kind of a tip for everyone out there, you know, really when you do Hangouts on air especially, is, you know, to really embed them into your website. And then, you know, as you promote it and everything, you know, build a landing page. So again, for instance, you know, I would build one on maybe skolmarketing.com/Google Hangout. and then I can really promote just that URL. I don't need to worry about the the Google Hangout URL or anything. And really, what's awesome about it is I really get to double dip, because now I get someone to my website, so I'm able to even look around, or they're watching my video, the Hangout, on my website. But two, I'm also getting the YouTube video that I'm capturing that. So you're really getting two things there. Instead of having them go to Google Plus or having them go to YouTube and watch it organically, here I can kind of double dip, and now I'm getting them what we want. And ultimately, again, we want them to see what our website is, who we are as a business, and ultimately, hopefully, buy our products or services. And that just helps in that kind of process if we can embed that on the site.
Yeah, we're obviously at the, I guess, at the beginning of all this, and would you say that business owners are starting to find out about it, and they're saying, yeah, I'd like to do this, or what are you sensing, let's say, from just the common guy, you talk to, they want to do marketing? Do you mention this, while you're kind of talking to them about social media, or are they coming to you and saying, hey, I heard about doing Hangouts, I think I'd like to do one? What have you found there in Minnesota?
Well, I'd say, almost like, maybe before, like the end of last year, maybe beginning of this year, it was mainly me trying to bring it up and drum up interest. And again, I still do that because, again, it's amazing. Once you start talking about this product, people get really psyched. Again, that, for those of you guys who don't know out there, again, we can actually technically have up to 10 people in a Hangout, and Google has actually just expanded it if you go through a process to actually get 15 into one Hangout. And again, it's completely free of charge. We have all these Google products and features built into it. So once people start to hear that, they really get hooked. But now it's amazing how many people I'm having come to me saying, hey Ben, I've been hearing about these Google Plus Hangout things, or what is a Hangout? I've been just hearing about it. My friend did one. Can you tell me more about it? And that's, again, where we can start to go, okay, yeah, hey, let's sit down, let's maybe talk about what can we actually do with these Google Plus Hangouts, and how can we actually make that fit you? Because obviously not everybody has a pregnant pig in their backyard are going to do baby animal births in their for Hangouts. But everybody has something that they can share. And I've worked with clients that, again, even if you don't do Hangouts on air, which, just to clarify for those people that maybe are a little confused, Hangout on air is kind of what we're doing right now, where it's broadcast live and it's going to be recorded. A regular Hangout is just doing a quick video chat where it's not recorded and it's private. So again, even just using the Hangout feature, I've seen a lot of businesses inside just be able to do a quick video chat, with their clients or their employees, and then what's nice about it is, again, Skype, over a certain amount, you kind of have to have sometimes a premium account, where this one, again, is completely free.
Right.
So, kind of a long answer, but kind of gets, kind of.
Yeah. Now you've had the benefit. No, that was perfect, man. Perfect. Right on. You had the benefit of working with Google. I'm wondering if you have any perspective on, maybe sort of where some of this is going. I mean, are they looking to kind of integrate this into everything, or if you were to kind of speculate on, maybe what some of the end game is, if there is one. Right? Sometimes I've heard about Google that they don't really know what the end game to anything is. They're sort of making it up as they go. What do you think they're sort of going toward with this? Because I know they got to make money with this thing.
Yeah.
How do you see this going in the future?
Well, part of your comment there was true. Again, sometimes again, it's kind of as they make it up as they go along. But really the end game is, and why Google is really pushing Hangouts and why it is they're kind of banking on it is, if you've noticed, again, for those out there that use Google Plus, again, you kind of notice that a lot of the features have been copied or taken on other platforms. For instance, on now Facebook, you can go ahead and edit a post. On Facebook, you can add people to lists. These are things that Google Plus were coming out with, and again, Facebook is trying to enhance their search function, which now again, Google has the best one out there, being that it's their algorithm is built into kind of Google Plus. So, but what's nice about Hangouts is really one of those features that it's really hard to copy, and I think they've really kind of struck gold with it. It's just trying, again, now market it and get it out there. I think, again, Google's whole thing with a lot of their products, and the reason they're able to do things for free is, again, their whole thing is that, just the more people using it, again, their idea is the more people that are using Gmail, that is using Google Plus, that's using Google Plus Hangouts, they're going to use more Google products, and that's obviously value to them. So I think that's really where the end game is just to get to people to use more of these things, and just essentially fall in love with Google and use more Google products.
Right. Yep. I guess it could be as simple as that. So, as back to being a consultant, what we're really looking to do is we're looking to set these guys up, and then we'll sort of be there for them. So, however, a consultant chooses to charge, the setup, we're not necessarily looking to keep them on the hook unless they want us to be there. So, let's say I'm a business owner, right, and I want you to be here, right? I want you to be here with me to do this every single week. First of all, are you going to say yes to that, right? Would you say yes to me as a business owner for that? And then number two, are you going to charge me accordingly, or how would you personally approach that as a consultant?
Yeah, personally, I actually do try to push people because I think it's the right thing to do, is to try and teach them something. Again, a lot of small business owners, a lot of businesses, you get that mindset of it's technology, it's new, I'm kind of scared, you just do it, I'll just pay you. Well, the idea is, that's great, but the idea is, again, we have to remember, our web presence is key, and this is attached to our web presence, and it's only become more and more important as we go forward. So teaching a small business owner, teaching a business, a nonprofit, whatever it is, at least some of that information is, again, I think, again, what I found out a lot of times is, again, they end up really thanking you in the end. And what's nice is they end up coming back to you for a lot of other things. So again, it's one of those things where, again, I've talked to some people and they will be like, why would you tell someone, why would you want to teach someone and stop that kind of income, so to speak, for that consultation? Well, the thing is, again, I think in the long run it really does help us because they're going to come back for more things and they're more knowledgeable. And then what I found is when they become more knowledgeable, they're more open to other things. So now I can start to introduce them to other technologies that I can start to help them with. So again, that's the way I really do approach it. And again, obviously people may approach it differently, but I like to approach it with the standpoint of the whole thing. Let me get you started. I say this word all the time, or this phrase when I talk about my services, really over the hump. And then let me kind of wean you off. It's the whole, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for life. It's right. That whole kind of philosophy. And again, I really think they end up really appreciating you a lot more if you can instill some knowledge upon them and help them go along. Again, they may never get to the point where, again, they completely need to get rid of you, but, again, maybe now they understand more of what you're doing. They actually then, again, can appreciate it more. And then also, I think it really opens the doors for more services. So, again, I've been really successful in that area, and I think it's really worked for me.
Okay, so basically, let's kind of walk back through sort of what we could do, what they could do. So obviously, they could do a presentation, right? So I mean, theoretically, they could, they could do their press release. They could do their, anything that with a PowerPoint that you do with Camtasia, they could broadcast that on a webinar, right? They could do that kind of stuff. You've talked about events, which again, that kind of broadens my mind to that, because I don't think that I would have attempted an event, but you're saying that as long as we got the right equipment, we could actually literally kind of showcase an event. I guess that we could probably do, now I'm guessing, now have you run into any business owners that want to do an interview like we're doing? Is that the kind of thing that they're into? I know for us it would be a benefit, right? It kind of showcases what we know. Are they sort of into that, or do you have to kind of school them on the benefit of doing an interview and then putting that on Google+?
Well, see, so again, an interview or something like that where it's going to be a little more intimate, they're probably going to do the private version. But again, I've introduced a lot of business owners to that possibility that, again, it opens up that, lines of communication. Again, obviously, especially when you're interviewing something, but even if you're working with a client, working with a potential client, working with a colleague, being able to see them and interact face-to-face is a lot better than trying to walk around and talk to somebody on a phone. It just adds that extra layer of communication. Now, again, not every Hangout you're going to do, you're going to want to do broadcast. Obviously, again, some of them are going to be private conversations. Some are just going to be, again, why would I want that out there? But again, that's why you have that option of the Hangout and Hangout on Air. And either one of them, again, they both, it's pretty much one button that really separates them. So it's good to understand both of them, and you can really get benefit out of either one. It's just sometimes it's internal or external.
All right, I'm going to go here for a second. I'm going to make sure I'm going to check to see if we don't have any questions here at the
Okay.
on the live stream. And so everybody, if I'm looking off to the right here and it looks weird, it's because I'm looking off on the screen. I'm looking for you. So I'm just going to check to see if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I could probably I could probably continue to kind of to yak on here because I think this is interesting because again, I think this is it's a great. I mean, it's a great opportunity. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and I think that it sounds like Ben that you know you don't have to get people excited about this. It's like they sort of know that this thing really does work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of people realize it does work, and a lot of people realize that video and video conferencing and just kind of taking it to the next level is kind of where the world's going. Again, one of the huge things that you can do for SEO and just for content creation is video. It works on so many levels. So again, once people start to realize that wow, look at this free tool that Google's offering. Look how much it's integrated. Google owns Android. It works. I like to say it works great with Android phones. It works good with iPhones. Again, it's
Right.
integrated in all of them. Again, wow, I can use this both internally just to quickly do a hangout with my friend that's in San Francisco, and now I can actually see them a little bit more. Or hey, now we can get 3, 4, 5 buddies. Fantasy football season's coming up. I can't tell you how many times I've done now. Like last year I did a bunch of them. This year I'm going to be doing more of them, where we're actually doing a fantasy football draft via Hangout. So again, just adding that extra layer of engagement, for that, and then obviously, from the monetary standpoint of, okay, now how can we create video and content that we can actually upload to YouTube and use the monetary options that are on YouTube to do that, or drive people to our website. Again, don't ever underestimate, the power of someone sending it to your website. Again, if someone finds your YouTube video and they get to your website and they end up purchasing something, boom, obviously that's what we're looking for. So again, those visitors and that traffic is, obviously huge.
Yeah. Now you're obviously now. Would you say that just in terms of your business, are you in order to, I guess, you've clearly established credibility that you can do this for other people. Did you do that because you're actually doing Hangouts? For instance, are you doing them for your own business, and then people see them and they say, okay, well, yeah, I want to do that too, or is it kind of like you've just kind of mostly done them for other people? You don't necessarily do them and have them hanging out there, for yourself or for Skol in particular.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of the Hangouts I've done are I end up putting them on other people's accounts to kind of help them out, and it's more of like, hey, I'm going to be assisting you, so we'll just put it on your account kind of thing, and that's kind of where it gets out, and that's kind of where my credibility has come in. What's also great is really when I worked at Google, my subsector was, again, fantasy sports and fantasy football and stuff like that. So we were able to, but again, my point being though is that, obviously not every fantasy football writer or, even most of them are in Minnesota. So again, I was helping, people that were not in Minnesota set up Hangouts and being able to kind of enhance their presence. So, again, but just being a part of those, really just, again, after this Hangout's done, my name's always attached to it. And again, so I think you kind of have to have a balance of both. But for me, it's even worked just by being on other people's and being introduced to other people and people seeing my name on all these Hangouts and kind of seeing my background and just building that reputation up.
Do you have anybody who's just said, okay, they're just going to focus on creating video now, or and is this because again? In terms of creating content, I'm just thinking about the number of things that you have to do. Even if you're just in the consulting, the number of things you have to do. I mean, you could blog, you could do radio like I do, but when you do this is kind of intense. Can you get away with? Can you commit to, let's say, this medium, right, and then just maybe make the other forms of content creation your side dish, and just kind of focus on this thing, is this enough to kind of give you the exposure that you need, let's say, as a consultant?
Well, I really think it can be. I mean, again, from a search engine optimization standpoint, there are certain, keys and techniques that we can do within, because again, this gets created into a YouTube video that we can start to get, so more people are finding it. But again, it goes. I also say it also goes back to, people say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, again, look how many pictures are in a video, and so just again, it adds an extra layer of engagement. Again, you can really get somebody's voice. Sometimes you can get somebody's voice from a blog, but again, you can really get to know me just by watching me. You can see, again, I'm a little energetic. You can tell I talk fast. You can see my room here that I'm a huge Vikings fan.
Right.
Again, it personalizes you a little bit more, and it allows someone in to your world a little bit more to kind of humanize you a little bit and just kind of make that connection. So that's why I think video is great. But again, I would never tell someone to stop blogging or to stop doing some of those things because, again, from an SEO standpoint, from a content standpoint, and again, not everybody is looking at video all the time, and not everybody is searching. So again, we still need to reach out to those subsectors.
Are you sort of into and that's a good point. That's a good segue. Are you working on post-production with these guys? Are you taking the video and then are you putting it into, creating audio, putting it into iTunes? Is that something that, they're asking for? Is that something that you're doing? Or is that kind of the extra post-production stuff that, maybe you might even charge more for?
Yeah, so I think definitely. I mean, you would want to see what they want to do with it. Like I have some clients where our post production is kind of using YouTube editor, video editors tools, and just kind of editing a little bit. Maybe fixing some things, overlaying a logo, all that kind of stuff. And and that's actually, I'd say that's most of what the clients that I've come in contact really want. There are a few. The one thing that I talk about with iTunes and stuff like that, and what we try to talk about is obviously it's an extra step. So usually, again, it gets a little, there's a little bit more cost involved. But then also, with that, you're also talking about that again, with iTunes, and again, you're almost talking more of the podcast, which is fine. And that, but again, we also want to make sure that we're on a schedule. Then we're going to be committing to this as well. Whereas, again, sometimes. I almost caution people just not to jump in, so much. Let's get our feet wet with it first, and let's, make 1 or 2 hangouts. And then if we're going to commit to it, okay, now let's, start doing a lot of more of the iTunes stuff. Let's doing more of the, podcast, all that kind of stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. Well, Ben, this has been awesome. The only thing I hold against you is that you're a Vikings fan. Because I'm from Chicago and I'm a Bears fan.
Gosh.
But other than that, man, this has been. I think I can speak for everybody. Again, what I appreciate about kind of what you shared is that this is the kind of stuff that I think we really all sort of want to know because and you've probably seen that. There's been a lot of discussion about doing Hangouts, but I don't know that there are a lot of consultants who have wanted to go that step, number one, because I don't think everybody really knows exactly what they should be charging for it, and they'll still and we'll still start to work that out. But number two, kind of what's possible, because again, I would not have thought about doing an actual event because that has value to me, right? Because if somebody's got something going on, they've got a press release, and you're broadcasting live. Right, if you can get the equipment together, I mean that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and my thing is it's free. It's on YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So it's again, there's obviously all those other kind of ways that we can Ustream and all those other kind of things. But at the end of the day, everybody knows YouTube and everybody wants to use YouTube. So again, that's what's great about this product is boom, Google owns it. Google owns YouTube. They're connected, and we can go right from there.
Right. Yeah, and really, as you said. I mean, you could do this with an Android. You don't necessarily have to have, this is kind of the one thing that the iWorld, you don't necessarily have to have an iPhone. You could probably do quite well, at least with this, with an Android, and they can have an Android, and you can kind of make some things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's definitely some fun stuff. And if anybody has some more questions, feel free to reach out to Charles or myself. I love, obviously talking about this stuff and be more than happy to jump on a hangout with somebody. and just kind of talk about it. And then when we beat the Bears this year, I'd be more than happy to jump on
Oh
another
yeah,
hangout.
see,
So
see, that's what I'm saying. All right, Ben, tell everybody where they can get a hold of you.
yeah, so you can reach me. You can see my website right here is skolmarketing.com. Otherwise, again, look for me on Google Plus, Ben Theis. Again, just find me out there, and again, just to be more than happy to find anybody. But yeah, skolmarketing.com is the main place. I'd love to have people go and try and find me.
All right, awesome, awesome. Everybody, this has been Ben Theis and Charles Harper. We've been broadcasting live, and we've been getting into some of the nuts and bolts of being able for you to learn to produce Hangouts. And I have to admit, again, my friend is kind of pulling me one way, and Ben's kind of pulling me more that, hey, maybe I should be looking to try to offer this. And I've got more confidence now about doing this than I had before, and I might actually get out there and do it. But definitely, those of you who have been asking me, I hope that you're able to take. I think you've got enough here, right? You've got enough just in this one session, right? That you could go out and you could create value for somebody, and you can ask them for something. You can charge them for this. So get out there and go make some things happen. So everybody, thank you very much. I'm going to end the broadcast and look forward to seeing you on the next call. Take care.